I've just hit the recording, so we will record this and
So
maybe
should
wait
we go
for.
live sharp at 6?
That's correct. We start at 6. So we'll have people joining in. So just wait for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, sure.
So Deepak, if you see most of so with the IMCI chapter, let's say we are organizing it through under Pune chapter. So that's where, let's say, Jay is part of, Shrikant is part of. Shrikant is also part of, by the way, the National Executive Committee as well. And he's based out of Pune. For IIM Ahmedabad, also he is the chapter chairman here. And I think most of the other people that you see around are part of different chapters. So with Zoom, one thing, or with this mode of these talks, one thing which has changed is certainly now we can have people from different chapters attending as well.
Correct.
Okay, Shrikant, maybe I will request you quickly to speak about Group Captain Atre late.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it is just about 6. So while we start, Deepak, there's I mean, we had within the Pune chapter a condolence that we would
Yeah,
just
sure.
like to talk about. So Shrikant, please do the honors here.
Yeah. Hi all. I am very sad to inform you that one of our associates, he was not a member of IMCA, but he was helping us all the time. The name is Group Captain Deepak Apte. Deepak Apte served the Air Force for quite some time, retired, and then became director of MIT School of Business. And we used to go to him to seek his help in arranging our program. Fantastic person, uh, very knowledgeable, studious, and an expert on NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. So we had arranged the program of his about 2, 3 years ago. Very nice gentleman. We lost him due to COVID. It was a shock to me because I got the news only through newspaper, and then other people told me. It was a very unfortunate, and may his soul rest in peace. We lost a very good friend. Okay.
Right.
Sorry to learn this.
Yeah. So I think time to continue get on with the talk. So it's just about 6:01 now. For other people who may join in, we'll just have them join gradually. So again, good evening, everyone. This section of the talk is slightly going. I think our last segment was around digital um, transformations, and that theme has continued for last 2 or 3 talks. Here we jump into marketeer's shoe, essentially, and from that zone, I think the topic is uh, pretty loud and clear, because in today's time, obviously, we all understand more than before the importance of how brand is critical for all of us and the survival. Because one aspect of branding, which was the physicality of it, which most of us as consultants were able to almost we took it for granted that we will be able to visit our customers, we will be able to physically deliver, which definitely was one of the most important aspect of the branding, not only ours, also for the customers, because that was one moment where we could really interact to that extent. So with the new world, obviously those dynamics have changed. Branding still continues to be one of the most important aspect. I was reading somewhere that almost about 80% of marketeers are very clear when they say that the most important component to their success is branding. And branding is just not I mean, all of you know it, but it's not just the logos or the visual part of it. It is, I remember my professor in MBA, Dr. Mr. Harish Bijur, used to say that branding is everything that you can touch, feel, smell. Everything is branding. So with that said, I think we'll very happy to introduce Deepak, who will be leading the talk. Deepak, as most of you would have seen his CV, he has been my boss as well. It was about 4 or 5 years ago, and Deepak currently heads, or he was a founder of Ideas Consulting, which I think he did back in the days 2004 or 5, when he won't say it openly, but when he was eyeing the CEO post in at ABP, and he was a deserving one, he didn't get his due. So out of whatever it was, he left everything and then did a soul searching with Ideas Consulting. Uh, Extremely illustrious career that Deepak had have had over a period of time. I think over uh, even in his avatar in Ideas Consulting, I can tell you one quick fact. Deepika Padukone was his selection for as a face for PC Jewelers, and that was before she became popular with movies. So, I mean, Deepak wears multiple hats, I can tell you, and he is an extremely articulate person. So, that said, I think, Deepak, all to you. Please go ahead. We'll have this talk for about 45, 50 minutes, and then we pause and maybe have these Q&As. Meanwhile, for everyone, you can post your questions. We can definitely unmute and have you ask the question as well. But in case, it's always best to have these questions there in the chat. Number two, again, a request, everyone, please be on mute apart from Deepak. If you have anything, just let me know through chat, and then we can take it from there. All right, Deepak, all yours.
Thank you, Chandan. I really do not know what Chandan meant when he said I have different avatars, and this was said in the same breath that he spoke about Deepika Padukone. So please don't misinterpret whatever he is saying. However, if I was holding this webinar from office, my office, you would have seen Deepika at the background. I have a photograph, which was her first photo shoot for this brand called PC Chandra Jewelers. And that photograph which I have with me is something which we never exposed. It is not touched up through Photoshop or anything. And I don't think she has ever looked more beautiful than she looks in that photograph. I'm sure Ranveer Singh, if he sees it, will take it from me by paying a big amount of money. So I always say there is DP behind me and DP sitting in front of her. All right. So I realized that I am talking to a very senior group of people, and therefore I thought, let me try and keep this conversation around what is my experience during this pandemic. And I'm sorry, this is something is wrong. Just give me a second, please. All right. Managing brands during the pandemic. First of all, thank you, and to the Institute of Management Consultants of India for giving me an opportunity to spend this evening with you with the thoughts that I would like to share, something which is gathered out of experience during this time, rather than anything that could be from the books. What I have done is I have decided that instead of trying to talk about lecture, I think it's more of sharing my learnings over since the beginning of last year. I will talk about our brand, Ideas Consulting Group. We are also a brand, and how did we manage since March 2020, and how did we manage some of the brands whom we guide. And I thought the experience that we've gathered over these months are invaluable, and we would like it may benefit all of us. Let me begin by making a confession. I think one of the biggest advantages of this pandemic was that it restarted my learning. honestly, I had stopped learning as much as I should have. And I realized that I was rather forced to reboot. And I really got out of comfort that I had gone into along with my team. Business was growing. We were getting new clients. We were getting clients from different cities within India, outside India. And so we thought that things are going fine. And we were actually stretched in terms of the number of people that we worked together versus the projects that we had in hand. And then the pandemic hit. I do not know what has been your experience in Pune, at least in Kolkata. Suddenly, we became a discretionary service, consulting, training, things which we do. So we really pivoted the entire business around Ideas Consulting Group. I'll share that of what we have done. Cash flows suddenly dropped because a lot of engagements either went on hold, some got discontinued. And managing, one of the ways was I could have asked some of my team members that I'm sorry, we do not have money, let's part ways. However, I think we decided that we will not ask anybody to move on. We will manage despite all the cash flow issues. And here, one of the key learnings, which is not exactly about branding, but it's all about HR and human resources management, is transparency. If the team knows what is happening is actually what is happening, then they also bring in their bit to make things different. Work from home suddenly. So we work more like a family. That's the environment that we have in our organization, not very rigid HR practices. But I realized that if you really have to get the best out of people working from home, we must put in some HR practices. And we did it in our small team and it paid heavy dividend. As I mentioned, my learning restarted. I learned a lot from different sources of knowledge. I suddenly realized that why was I not reading, learning, trying to do different things during these years when things were going fine. And of course, navigated brands through uncharted waters. And one of the brands which we talk about is PC Chandra, which Chandan spoke about. Because the cases, including the one at Ideas that we are going to discuss, has some lessons which I thought would be useful for all of us. So the flow of content is like this, that what changed when the lockdown was announced, the pandemic? Was it a point of view that was important for businesses to reorient themselves? Then I know it's, I'm trying to talk of a brand in a group of experts. Anybody's asking me anything? Okay. So what is a brand? I mean, we at Ideas Consulting Group, we have got 2 or 3 sort of ways of looking at brand, looking at marketing consulting, and I'll share all of them as to how we look at it. Then what was the key strategy? So we created a framework for the pandemic, which we applied to us, to the brands that we manage, and some of it definitely gave us success. As I mentioned, what we did for the brands with whom we affiliate, and what were the key lessons which we learned forever. So what changed in no time? I think the first point is that everybody was extremely uncertain. The dominant emotion was uncertainty, anxiety, restlessness, stress. One didn't know what's going to happen. The concern about health of near and dear. In fact, this wave has actually brought the virus much closer to people, perhaps, than in the first wave. Everything about job security, work from home, financial discretion. I mean, I'm very upset because I found a lot of business owners actually reduced manpower just for the sake of it, because they felt this is a good opportunity to get rid of some people. My philosophy is you recruited them. So, I mean, you had a responsibility towards them. You can't just ask people to go, right? I mean, the business has undergone a huge change and therefore you are resizing. I understand that and appreciate that. But I know businesses where people have just for the sake of getting the numbers lower, had decided to reduce people. Not the right time. And what got impacted was our 24-hour life cycle. I will be talking about this 24-hour life cycle very often as we go through this talk, because we strongly believe that if we cannot understand the 24-hour life cycle of a customer, in that case, we may not be able to get the best branding and marketing strategy for them. And what definitely changed was priorities in daily life. And there are enough examples. We have been through it all. The no maids, no drivers, everything that we never did, we started doing. Work was divided inside the home. I can imagine people living in very small apartments with many people, and people were treading on each other's toes. So a lot of things changed in life. The question was, this pandemic, was this a crisis or an opportunity? I have picked up few video edits from only one video session which I could gather from Facebook. Speaker is a gentleman who's my classmate at IIM Calcutta. He was the first boy in our batch, a person who's respected globally for his marketing acumen. His name is Mohanveer Singh Swanhe. I'll allow Govind Raj to introduce him, and let's listen to his point of view in terms of this pandemic, whether it's a crisis.
He holds a PhD in marketing from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, MBA from IIM Calcutta, and a BTech from electrical engineering from IIT Delhi. So on that note, and on this very, very important juncture as we stand, let's look at what and how the pandemic can be an opportunity for business leaders. It's over to you, Professor Sahni.
You know, every day when I wake up in the morning, I have to pinch myself and ask myself, are we in a dream or is this reality? You know, and it just seems that we have lived through so much change. We've lived through so much disruption. And unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. Maybe there will be a vaccine that is widespread by the summer next year, but we have to prepare. We have to prepare for business, life, and work never to be the same anymore. But what I want to share with you is a positive message, an inspirational message, an uplifting message, and that is that hiding in this crisis is enormous opportunity. The only difference, frankly, between a crisis and an opportunity, in my opinion, is your ability to capitalize on it. You can get swallowed up by a tsunami, or you can have the ride of your life if you decide to surf it. So let's figure out how to actually look at the pandemic, not as a threat, but as an opportunity. And look for growth, look for innovation, even in these uncertain times.
He holds a
I will be having these clips, and if you people are interested, I can share the entire video to Chandan at the end of the session. You can have a look at the full video. See, we cannot run away from this fact that business has changed forever. Let's listen to.
Okay, are we good?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so the analogy I was sharing was that when you look at a rubber band and you stretch it, you know, this is sort of the challenge that we are going through, and you release this pressure, it doesn't come back to its original shape. There is a permanent deformation. And this is something that we call a plastic deformation. So what we are seeing really is a plastic deformation of work, of society, that things have changed forever, even past the pandemic. So what are these mega trends that I think is going to survive, that I think are going to sort of live past the pandemic? I have a very simple way of describing this, that this is the overall summary of the mega trends, that the pandemic is going to result in a permanent increase in the use of digital and physical networks to access people, products, and places. So let's march through this definition. What is going on here?
So if you see, I think all of us have changed as individuals, and most importantly, we have changed as customers. And this is a very important consideration that we took into our understanding when we looked at managing brands during this time. I love this visual. Brands, as we all know, is like Rome, not built in a day, and it needs a lot of meticulous efforts to build the brand. The way we define brand in Ideas Consulting Group is that brand is a relationship. And what we believe that it is a relationship of choice and not of compulsion. So I'll just give a simple example. A person who's driving a Honda City or buying a Honda City does not mean that he cannot buy a more premium car, let's say a Mercedes Benz. For whatever reason, he chooses Honda City over Mercedes Benz and decides not to buy a Mercedes Benz. So this is the relationship of choice. And we can have enough examples of relationship of choice. Whenever the brand is something where there is no choice, people accept the brand out of compulsion. But the problem with such a scenario is they look for alternatives at the slightest excuse. This is the first thing that we follow when we do our brand management consulting. Second, we talk of is something which I picked up by attending a lecture held in Kolkata by Dr. Deepak Jain, the first Indian dean in INSEAD Paris. He said, price is obvious. I think this makes a very, very pertinent remark. Price is obvious, value is opaque. Customer always buys value. And therefore, as marketer, we must demonstrate value. I think this is the crux of what we do. The question is, unless we know what is valuable to the customer, how will I demonstrate value? Let me take an example. We used to consult with one of the largest dealers of Maruti Suzuki in Ahmedabad. They used to sell many years back around 25,000 cars in a year, big time. And we realized that one of the things that people were not doing at their sales associates is to understand value. I remember we were on the floor when a gentleman 60 plus, he came determined to buy an Alto. Believe me, the only value I showed about to him to upgrade him to a WagonR was the headspace inside a WagonR. That value alone converted the customer from a lower ranking variant to a higher ranking variant, from an Alto to a WagonR, because we actually believe that there is nothing called absolute price. What people value by is what is value for money to themselves. The best part is the value proposition could be different for different people. Let me take another example. A Louis Philippe shirt, a lot of people wear because if they raise their hands, that crest on the sleeve would tell them that they are wearing a Louis Philippe, and they want to rub up on the image of Louis Philippe on themselves. For somebody else, a Louis Philippe may not be just for the crest, but for the fit. For somebody else, it could be for the colors, fastness, whatever. So the point that I'm trying to make is people who are buying a Louis Philippe also know that there is a Peter England and basic stuff is similar, but still they believe that the 100% premium is worth it for different reasons. So finally, when you buy, you give yourself a reason to buy, and that sets the value for money equation in your mind. And therefore, if somebody challenges you on that proposition, you always give them. So this is another crux of, this is another fundamental based on which we offer our consulting. The third is the name Ideas. When I started in 2004, I wanted to name my company in a manner where the company name itself would give me a talking point of conversation with whomever I'm trying to talk. And at that time, all of us have studied the AIDA model, but I felt somewhere at that time that Google will play a very important role in brand and marketing. And therefore, I created some additional steps. And Ideas phonetically, Ideas as an IDEAS, it had its own connotation, and somehow we have stuck to it. And it's today there. And our primary focus has been what is written under the at the bottom of my slide, is to help businesses to grow profitably. And we'll talk about it as to how this promise has guided us during this time of pandemic. So what we have done is Ideas is basically the awareness I have included a step called inquisitiveness. Then there is a step called desire, intention to buy, acceptance to buy, and that leads to sales. And awareness is from variety of sources. Inquisitiveness is through Google search. You talk to people. Believe me, this ideas takes place in any customer's mind, subconsciously, unconsciously, or consciously. The higher the value of purchase, the more explicit is ideas in their mind. D is the desire. I is intention to buy when the prospect agrees to buy. Acceptance to buy is when the customer is satisfied with the value equation and says, okay, fine, I'm willing to put up the money. And that is when the customer pays for it. And the best part is, if this journey has been good for the customer, the brand that he has bought is happy or is as per the expectation, then it can lead to the most powerful tool, that is word of mouth. We have one of the largest real estate marketing companies as our client in Kolkata, and we did a research with them. With their existing customers, some 800 customers who had bought residential properties through their efforts over the last 1 year. And what emerged in terms of the parameters on which the decisions were made, first was, of course, the budget of the purchase. Second was the location, which had many layers in terms of depending on the family structure. A lot of layers were there in location. But most surprisingly, the third most important criteria was the comfort and the professionalism of dealing with the people who represented this real estate marketing company. So, for example, in a real estate company, the intention to buy was to get them to a site visit, because people are unlikely to buy a property without visiting the site. So we did a lot of work around that. We did a lot of mystery audits, training, etc., etc. And that has helped. We also helped them to buy a tool, which I will talk of sometime later, which could actually help them to sell in the month of June 2020 as many flats as they sold in June 2019. And that was a very creditable achievement. So what has happened is that remote is proximity, and that is the new normal. That's what is happening today. We are talking, I am in Kolkata, some of you are in Pune, I don't know, others maybe from other cities also. But we are no longer remote, but that's the new normal. So when we're talking of pivoting towards the future, let us listen to Professor Sawhney. What does he mean by that?
But as we try to position ourselves towards the pandemic and try to respond to it, I see two phases. In the short run, we have to go through what I call recovery and response, right? So this is sort of that in the short run, what we have to do is we have to pivot for the present, which is that we have to protect revenues, we have to protect our cost, reduce our costs, we have to make sure we can survive. But as we look at the future, we need to think beyond. We need to position ourselves for the future. We need to actually do redesign and reimagine our capabilities and think about next generation value propositions and next generation business models. So what I want to talk to you about is this pivoting towards the future.
So basically what Professor is talking of is that we have to be a combination of one day, T20 and test match if we really want to pivot the business. Let's listen to him further.
So when I think of pivots, I define pivots in 4 dimensions. Pivoting the product, which is what you offer, pivoting the customer, which is who you serve, pivoting the channel, which is where you and how you go to market, and pivoting the experience, which is how you engage with customers. In all of these cases, what I want to ask you, I want you to think about is there a disruption happening in your business here? And how do I respond to it by actually pivoting? So,
all right. There are wonderful examples in the entire talk. I've picked up a couple of them for the purpose of discussion today. Please listen to this one.
The third pivot is the channel. This is a huge problem in the pandemic times because now customers are locked out of the channel. Like I can't go to a restaurant. We by the way, just entered into a lockdown in the state of Illinois and the US. You know that the pandemic is spreading very, very quickly. So we are no longer able to go to restaurants. We are no longer able to go to clubs, to gyms. So your customers are locked out of the channel. So what you need to do is to invent a new channel. You need to think about a new channel, a digital channel, a mobile channel, some sort of a way in which you want to reach customers in ways that you couldn't do before. And here again, I'm going to tell you a story from India. So we had a huge problem at Jio. You know that in India, 80% of the market is postpaid, is prepaid, right? So people go in and they top up their phones. And even though you can do digital top-ups, many of you do digital top-ups, but many customers still prefer to go to a Kirana store, a local store to do the top-up. Now, if the Kirana stores are closed, how do we do the top-ups? We had a huge threat that our revenues would decline a lot because there was no way for us to top up the phones. So what did we do? The team created a new channel, which we call Jio Associates. So Jio Associates are people who are recruited within communities, within localities, within housing societies, and they're able to go to their network within their local community and activate phones or also to do the top-ups. So this phone itself becomes a point of sale device. So it becomes a POS Lite, as we call it. We have recruited in 6 weeks 1.2 million micro entrepreneurs who have now become an entirely new and important channel. And as we were discussing in our meeting recently, why would we stop this channel? We would always keep this channel. So this is not a digital channel, it's a physical channel.
In fact, Mohan Beer is one of the brains behind Jio as a concept. He is on the board of Reliance Jio. And the most important point I think I took from this a little bit of the talk is that often we get so fascinated by modern concepts like digital, we often do not pay enough attention to something which is a traditional concept. And most importantly, we do not take into consideration what the customer is comfortable with, what the customer wants, and based on that decide how to take it.
The third pivot is
and the final video from Professor Sawhney.
The fourth pivot is pivoting the customer experience. Here what happens is that let's say that you are delivering a high touch customer experience, right? Your sales process or your customer support process requires a direct contact and face-to-face contact with customers, but that's not possible during the pandemic. So here what I'm finding is that you can leverage digital technology, particularly new technologies like AR and VR and other engaging ways to create high touch experiences to connect and engage with your customers, to provide customer service, to provide customer advice in creative new ways. So whether it's chatbots or voice bots or conversational commerce or voice assistants or VR or AR, these are all alternative ways to engage customers.
In fact, that real estate marketing agency which I was talking of, who's our client, used a lot of virtual reality to actually give the customer the experience of a site visit. And that is why they could be successful in marketing so many units, even during the pandemic.
Deepak, can we take a question at this stage, if that's okay? So I think there's one from Shrikant. Maybe Shrikant, I'll read that for you. Besides value for money, he is asking, what other factors influence the decision to buy? How do you incorporate these factors when developing a brand? So maybe one factor that you mentioned, what could be the other factors which will be critical or supporting these?
Great question, Shrikant. I have some of it answered in the subsequent slides. See if it answers the queries which you have in your mind. If still there is a requirement, I will add to what I'm going to say now. All right. So another fundamental thing that we believe in is that there is no business if you don't have customers. So the core of any brand thinking is the customer at the heart of thoughts and actions. And I think some of your questions, Shrikant, may get answered this. So we asked 4 fundamental questions for the brands with whom we were consulting. First, what is the 24-hour life cycle of my primary customer as impacted by the pandemic? So one of the things that we talk of is this concept of primary customer. Let me give an example. Let's say Femina as a women's magazine, if you look at data, always has 52 to 54% male readership. That does not mean that Femina is a man's magazine. We men are perhaps more curious about what the women are reading, and that's why we read it. But the point that I'm trying to make it is Femina has to remember that the primary customer is the lady of a certain demographic and psychographic profile, and therefore the content of the magazine has to be curated, keeping the mind this primary customer. So what is important is, and why is this important? You know, when you're looking at an advertising campaign, you may not like the campaign the way you see at it as a customer yourself. However, the campaign could be very relevant for the primary customer to whom the brand is trying to connect with. So these are very small nuances which become very important. That's point one. Point two, we always talk about this 24-hour life cycle because this gives us a lot of insights in terms of when do I connect with the person? What is the time when I can engage with the person? For example, we have got enough case studies about the students as a target audience have a very different lifestyle as compared to a lady of the house who's not working versus a lady of the house who's working versus a man of the house who's working versus a man who's a businessman. So a lot of stuff is there. In fact, on 12th of this month, we are having an insights webinar on our platform where we have got two very erudite experts who will talk about consumer sentiments, how to measure them and how to apply them for marketing strategy. If you are free and you want to register for it, please do so. It's there on my LinkedIn. The second question we asked is, can my customer do without me currently? Very, very pertinent question. And I'll tell you how we have applied all this into what we created a framework for consulting. Third, can I do something for him which I have never done before and which is valuable in the correct context? That is how ITC relaunched Savlon, both as a disinfectant liquid as well as spray and everything, because Savlon was not so heavily promoted by ITC in the recent past, or for that matter, a brand called D-Mile. So what is happening is, can I do something which is currently contextual? And fourth is what I think is very important. This was not the time to improve on areas where I am traditionally weak. This was the time for me to leverage whatever my strengths are. And if there is something which needs to be improved because pandemic has impacted it, that is when we will look at this. For example, we have got a lot of clients in the healthcare sector. Now, naturally, people became extremely scared to come to hospitals, lockdowns, etc., etc. So one of the things which never existed in most of the hospitals was OPD consultation through a remote mail. So we needed to quickly put together the SOP, the method, the technology with one of our clients. The other client didn't do anything despite us telling that. That's fine. In terms of how do we do this OPD consultation remotely, because that was one of the ways of remaining in connection with the customers. We did a lot of other things also. I mean, I will not get into it because time is not available to me. So we came up what we call the ACG 9-box framework for business strategy. We took two axes, and there's a third one, I'll talk about it. On X-axis, we looked at the product or service that we are marketing, and we classified them into only 3 categories. Given the current context, is my product or service an essential for the customer? Is it a compulsion for the customer, or is it discretionary for the customer? On the Y-axis, we put our pricing as compared to competition. Are we competitive? Are we premium, or we are luxury? So this gave a 9-box framework, and on top of it, we superimposed, is the customer's purchase of my brand driven more by emotion or more by logic or rationale, or it is the 50-50 between the two? For example, I personally think that a very premium car like a BMW, Audi, or a Mercedes-Benz for the roads of Calcutta is more of an emotional purchase, because I believe that if I am seen stepping up for a Mercedes, it uplifts my prestige. But within Mercedes, which variant I will buy is the rational choice. So the point that I'm trying to make is we use this framework for most of our clients, and I'll demonstrate some of them in terms of pivoting the brand, keeping this framework in mind. We did it for ourselves. For example, we are a discretionary service. We do consulting, we do training, we do research. Of course, we were discretionary. In terms of our pricing, we are definitely premium. I mean, there are people who offer training programs at 1/5 the price of what we do. Fine, that there is a market for that. We also have our market. So we were actually discretionary and premium. So in a way, we were on box 7. And the idea is, if we can push the entire product service from discretionary towards essential, we increase our chances of being considered even during this time. So how did we do it? What is it that we did is something which we are going to talk for ourselves and some of the brands that we're going to talk about. I mentioned about PC Chandra Jewelers. They have been our clients since 2004. A quick background about the brand: 80 plus years. The brand sort of differentiators are trust, purity, prestige, leader. In fact, I tell the PC Chandra family jokingly that Hallmark has actually taken away a big differentiator for the brand. Previously, before Hallmark became compulsory, everybody believed that PC Chandra is the only brand in Bengal which offers pure gold, 22 by 22 carat quality. But after Hallmark, everybody has the same certificate. So therefore, that went away as a big differentiator for PC Chandra. It has been passed, the brand has been passed through generations. There is a huge loyal repeat customer base, and heavy jewelry. I mean, heavy jewelry we talk of is 30 grams, 40 grams and above is 80% of the sales. And within that, 60% of the sales is from wedding seasons. Now you can imagine everything got impacted because of the pandemic. And it is also not popular for light jewelry. So when we did the analysis, we realized that we are not very popular for light jewelry. It is an inherent area of improvement, which we kept in mind while doing the strategy. So what did we realize? We realized that if we look at the database of the different showrooms, there are some families who regularly come to the showroom to buy thrice or 4 times in a year. So we looked at those people and we said, we will come to you. We created this communication, we put the SOP around that, we sent WhatsApp messages to these people, called them, and jewelry, if you're taking security, becomes very important, insurance becomes very important, but we put together the protocol and we started taking jewelry to the home. It's not that too many people bought a lot, but it brought the brand closer to the customer, and whatever sales we got was additional because otherwise people are not coming to the showroom. Then this brand would never give discounts. The only discounts would be during the Bengali New Year, Akshaya Tritiya and Dhanteras. So we said, all right, if I look at it from PC Chandra regular customer, they know that only thrice in a year do they get discounts on their favorite brand. But if they can get discounts at different times every month, suddenly they may feel that, okay, let me buy now, this discount may not be there after some time. So we were trying to push from a discretion towards a compulsion that let's buy now so that we may miss it otherwise. And we started creating a lot of offers. I just took a sample, which is monsoon offer. We did a lot of, even the offers got packaged in very interesting manner. For example, one of the things we spoke about, we realized people need cash. So we said, fine, you have old jewelry, come to us. Tell us how much you want back as cash, which helps your cash flow, and rest you invest with us in terms of the jewelry that you buy. So we did a lot of work around this, which was very relevant to the time that we were going through. And we also looked at the weakness we had about light jewelry because we realized the pandemic may come and go, but special occasions in life will come on the day that it is meant to be, whether it's a birthday or an anniversary. So we took the digital route and promoted the gifting of PC Chandra light jewelry as one of the gifts to be considered during this pandemic. See, what happened is gold is a metal which people know appreciates over time. So because financial prudence was the name of the game, people felt that the stock markets, though were behaving correctly, they were not sure how the stock markets would behave. So one of the good, safer places to park some additional money, those of who we had, was considered to be gold jewelry, and PC Chandra, of course, is something which we all trust. Another example, travel and tourism. It was most impacted. And believe me, this is what our client, Globe, which is one of the biggest travel services company in Calcutta, came to us. They actually are our travel services partner because all the travel that we do, our team does, they do. So they came to us and said, sir, there is no business for us. Tell us what to do. So when we did the analysis of their business, we realized they were very strong in corporate clients. So I think if I recall the numbers, 88% or a little more than that of their business was corporate clients. And MICE, as you know, meeting, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions was a big chunk of it. I did a workshop with the senior team, and two words came up very strongly. I asked one question, very simple question is, why do customers choose Globe over any other similar service provider? So two words came out, that we have a very strong relationship and people can rely on us. In fact, they have a very unique service, which is 24/7 help desk, because you never know when plans will change. So everything they offer for 24/7. So then we pivoted these trends and looked at what could be useful during this time. So first, we said people, they don't want their people to be infected, especially those who have to come to work but don't have their own content. So can we provide transport to these clients for transporting people from work to home and back? Second, a lot of companies wanted to do this office sanitization, and there was nobody who was like a brand in office sanitization. These people had the relationship, it's not very big deal. So we launched that service. Third, we looked at cargo services. How can we market cargo services? We also did virtual summer camps with schools, because a lot of these clients, their children were getting bored at home. So how do we do that? And see how we have converted into a crisis into an opportunity. Low cost mines. The logic was, because the industry has crashed, the prices of holding a conference would be much lower than normal times. So we targeted those companies who perhaps were doing conferences in India, but always wanted to do something abroad. So we looked at those companies and positioned that, all right, this is the time if you really want to give an experience to your people. As soon as travel and all things, those restrictions are removed, we can do that. So they did some decent amount of business in January and February. Now I come to us. I think it's important to set the context, because that's when we will see how we have pivoted the thing. We are basically very senior people who have worked, studied in very prestigious institutes like IIT, IIM. We also have a Stanford alumnus. Over the 16, 17 years, we have consulted or affiliated with more than 150 organizations, and we could see some of the logos, which includes people who are large organizations, family-run businesses, MSME, retail, and things like that. And there are 5 reasons why we believe people choose us. One is we always focus on business results. The expertise that we bring with the experience that we have comes at a fraction of the cost otherwise. We have hardly written reports. We actually assist clients to implement our recommendations, so we find otherwise there's a gap. We have evolved with time, and you will see how. And we focus a lot in human motivation, because we believe that customers are humans, employees are humans, suppliers are humans. If all of them are motivated towards your business, then you could be doing right. So we do basically work on research, strategic consulting, customized training, and it is pretty neatly distributed. Research is small, consulting and training, and we work across industries. So what we realize that remote is the new near, and we defined remote for ourselves. We said it is about responsiveness, empathy, mastery in whatever we are offering, ownership of what customers need from us, timeliness in terms of whatever we do, and enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is, I think, very, very important. And just picked up a quote from Barack Obama's book, Enthusiasm Makes Up for a whole lot of deficiencies. And that's the important point that we believed in. So what did we do to pivot? We looked at what are the paradigm shifts which have taken place during this pandemic, what has been the impact of technology, and what are the challenges in business development. Based on these three understanding, we realized we will focus on 4 areas. One was small business analytics, small business digital marketing, brand consulting, HR consulting, and short training programs. And let me first tell you where we failed. We failed in marketing small business analytics because I think the sentiment of the business owners was not right. Digital marketing, simple things. This was a boutique who said, what can we do? We talked of simple things like masks, along with the brand, looked at how to use Facebook, Instagram for them. We've done a pretty decent job with them. This was a restaurant. Restaurants closed. So we came up with this idea of a weekend offer where the value proposition became disproportionate. And that is where people got a lot of mileage on that. How did we market ourselves? We started having classes about learn Facebook free of cost from us in Bangla and Hindi, because we felt that a lot of the small business owners may not be comfortable in learning in English. So we did our marketing in this. So we showed our expertise, and that's what gave us a lot of it. We looked at training programs, and we realized that training programs had to be done through digital method. Can't have a very long training topic. It has to be curated, keeping the pandemic in mind. And we had to design in a manner that participation by participants were very high. So we did 11 programs. We called it Act 6, and we really customized it, and we got a lot of business from this because a lot of companies realized that it's a good time to invest in their people. And we really looked at programs which were very relevant to that time. You know, what I'm trying to emphasize over and over again is unless things are relevant to the customer, or however great your brand is, you may not be able to sell. Technology. We have realized that technology is something which is benefited during this pandemic. We also discovered 4 technology-oriented companies who were not so good in marketing and business development. We have started consulting with them. One of them is called WorkZoho. High-end stuff using behavioral economics, neurosciences, AI/ML powered. It improves productivity of large sales. That's what we sold to the real estate marketing people. And it was pivoted to support teams in work from home. Now, this was in sync with what we are talking about. How can we help business to grow profitably? That was one reason. Second, this also helped us to reach out to a different set of customers with these type of offerings, which people were willing to listen to during this time. And once we got in, we could sell our other services to them. So this is also strategic background. Believe me, this is retail scan. They report action from retailers. I'm naming the company. We have sold to ITC the importance of understanding the price and profit, price at which a retailer is buying different items and what is the profit he is making, because every FMCG company knows that a retailer can substitute the brand at this stage, talking of shortage, short supply, etc., etc. So we are doing that work for ITC, their brands vis-a-vis some of their competitors. So this is another company with whom we are working very, very closely, consulting with them to market their brands. Third is a very interesting one. You know, people can't come to work. So let's say you have received the supply, it comes against a challan, which has been generated out of the ERP of the supplier. And that same data has to be plugged into your ERP again. This is a very commonplace happening. This software actually works like a translator. You put it between the supplier's ERP and your ERP, it will just pick up data, whatever is required, and you will put it into your ERP. So it reduces time for data transfer and eliminates entry error 100%. So this people, when we picked them up as our client, they were selling only to a particular industry. Now we have expanded them to cover many, many industries, and the owner, the Nagpur-based company, said, Deepak, first time I realized this product, which I have been marketing for 20 years, has so much scope. which we got when you came into the thing. And the final is something which is the future. We have realized that blockchain is going to be a big time differentiator as we go forward. So we are now consulting with a blockchain company to build their brand, which is about traceability. So for example, we are trying to tell PC Chandra that, all right, hallmarking is done by everybody. Through this blockchain solution, you can tell your customer, he can actually check the hallmarking certificate which has been issued against that piece of jewelry by the hallmarking center. So that gives a different brand image. Tanishq is already considering to be bought. Then organic food has suddenly become very, very important in life. So this traceability from farm to plate can be done on this blockchain. And even the last thing, which is all about carbon footprint, people who market their products in plastic containers, they are supposed to recycle those plastic containers responsibly. And that is very difficult to trace. Blockchain is opening up this possibility. So we are guiding these people to market their stuff in terms of to the relevant brands. So what is happening? By doing all these, our brand image in the mind of people whom we are trying to reach is going up. It is giving us new doors to open, and it is also helping us to sell our services after service selling these products. So the key learnings, last two slides. First is business has changed. All of us have changed. That's for sure. The opportunity lies in the crisis. We have to pivot around the four pivots, as Professor was mentioning. We can very effectively use the 9-box framework. Remote is everything that is near. KYC, this is one thing which we realized is very critical. A lot of our clients never bothered to create Know Your Customer, because if we don't have the data of the customer, we cannot do many things which can be done. Digital marketing per se is nothing unless it's looked at as a subset of marketing. We are doing a lot of work around this. And digital transformation, which means that we must look at digital touch points of different businesses and define and create the experience around those touch points, is a must, which is lacking in many businesses. Needless to say, whatever has given us success in the past will not give success in present. And finally, it is about people. Whenever I have got a chance to write or speak, I have always maintained that people who matter in your business, your employees, your customers, your business associates, the public, if they are motivated about your brand will be made. The final video from Professor Sani.
In summary, these are the 4 pivoting strategies that I wanted to share with you, which is pivoting the product, pivoting the customer, pivoting the channel, and pivoting the customer experience. Through a combination of these pivoting strategies, you will find that not only can you survive in the pandemic, but you can actually thrive to what is going to be, what is coming in the future. So I hope that this gives you a perspective on the fact that what we are going through is not only a crisis, but it's an opportunity. But what you need to do to capitalize on the opportunity is to pivot away from the threat and to pivot towards the opportunity. So in summary, these are the 4 pivoting strategies that I wanted to share with you.
All of us have a choice. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and I would love to take questions. But Srikanth, have I answered some of your question partially?
Yeah, Deepak, you have answered, but I still have some questions.
Please, should I
from
stop sharing?
Life,
Chandan, shall I stop sharing?
Pardon me?
Can I stop sharing so that I can see everybody?
Yes.
You can stop sharing. I have sent my question to Chandan. He can read it out, please.
Please. You are on mute, Chandan.
I always falter. Srikanth, I think you can do it. You can just take it on.
Deepak, some things really beat me. See, this Airtel and Idea and Vodafone have been in the market for long years, but Jio comes and it displaces them. Why did it happen? Were they weak brands, or was Jio much stronger than these three established brands. That is number one. Secondly, if you take the auto market, there are world-class brands. Like in motorcycles, Yamaha is a world-class brand. It has not been able to make a dent in the Indian market. Or Suzuki, okay, has come lately now, but it was also lagging behind Honda and Bajaj. Why this happens? All of them are in their own right very big brands, very respected brands, but still some brands do well and some don't do. That's why I asked you, what are the factors which influence the besides value for money? Yeah, Indian customer definitely is a value for money fan, but what other factors influence?
Okay, thanks, Shrikant. I think very important, pertinent question. You know, value for money, first of all, is not about being cheap. It is seeing the value for the money that I'm paying. That's the first thing that I request you to sort of consider, value for money. Now, why did Jio succeed? I can only see two reasons. A, they have very deep pockets, and B, they focused on data rather than voice. They realized that this internet penetration will be something which could be a differentiator for the consumers, and therefore that was a very, very important differentiator that they created from all the existing brands they were in the market. So far Yamaha is concerned, or any of those foreign automobile brands are concerned, I think one of the biggest concerns anybody who buys a two-wheeler or four-wheeler is how far do I have to go to service my vehicle? Because everybody knows servicing is bound to be there. And we have done a lot of data, you know, like that I was talking about the client in Ahmedabad. We realized that the first three fee service, people come to the dealer from which they have bought.
Yes.
Because they believe that free service is only with that dealer. That's not true. Free service is authorized dealer. But thereafter, they go to the mechanic next to them thinking that they are saving money. What they are realizing that they are not realizing that they are paying a low cost, but actually in the long run paying a very high price. So we did a lot of work around them in terms of how could we get them into the fold. So therefore, I think, you know, Jio is a classic example of doing or offering something in the market which your predecessors have not done, and supporting it with huge amount of marketing promotion, and that is what I think has been the success.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Deepak.
Any other questions?
Sure. Yeah, so please, maybe if you have questions, let us know. I have one till maybe the rest of you pick up.
You can ask while people think.
Yes. So Deepak, again, we're going back to bigger brands because that in a way you have spoken largely about different brands which are small or medium in size. But bigger brand, all of us will be able to relate to. Let's say the brand of Tata and Reliance, we come back to it. Of course, their brand promise, their brand message is still very different. I mean, while with Tata, we still see that the pride that you were talking about as far as their employees are concerned, it's visible. Whichever brand of Tata that you interact with, that is visible. Now, the time today, let's say with post-pandemic time that we are talking about, things have changed even in their interaction. So they also had to pivot. Now, what do you think were a few of these two businesses, because both are relevant even today? I mean, they had been relevant since centuries now. They are still relevant today. What do you think they have done, or the message that they have put forth, why they are still alive?
All right. Chandan, first of all, looking at Reliance and Tata as umbrella brands and trying to comment on them is perhaps beyond my abilities, like, because each company under those brands have their different life cycles during the pandemic. If you look at Tata, TCS is going through the roof because all IT companies have done well during this pandemic time. If you look at Tata Motors, you know, I mean, they have been our clients as well. We have done a lot of work with them in terms of the training front. Tata Motors, if you see what they did 3 years before the pandemic, actually saw them through during the pandemic. They could not have done that during the pandemic. The way they actually repositioned the Tata Motors brand completely in terms of design, in terms of safety, in terms of the features of the car, That saw, and the aggressive pricing that they brought in for Tiago, especially, that saw them through during this period of pandemic. And what has also happened during the pandemic, what has people have realized that they need their own vehicles as much as possible. And I had predicted, and it was proven subsequently through data, that second-hand car business will become big time. And that is where Maruti benefited much more than a Tata, because second-hand vehicles in terms of Maruti, because of the base it has, is much higher than Tata. That's one. Let's look at Tata Salt. I mean, Tata Salt talks of hygiene. It is talking about iodine. A lot of brands, including plywood brands, are talking of 99% bacteria free. I really do not know how that is being proven, and whether Advertising Standard Council of India is, nobody is challenging. Cement bags are virus free. Fans are virus free. Everybody seems to be offering whatever they are offering in whichever category virus free. I think that's an overkill of virus free. And I really do not know whether people are actually trying to take the intelligence of the consumer for granted. I mean, one very refreshing commercial, if I can think of recently, is the Havells fan commercial, where the two children are talking, and it's about a thinking fan. One of the fans which did not talk of immunization, I mean, it's highly sterilized fan. It spoke about how it can feel what you need and moves. So those are brands which will, or look at the company, again, Havells brand, Lloyd's Communication, which is happening, which is the Deepika Padukone and Ranveer Singh commercial. So the point that I'm trying to make is that when everybody is talking the same language, if you do not speak that language, you will get noticed. The classic case in point is the Cred Rahul Dravid ad. It has got so many eyeballs because they made Rahul Dravid do, which he never does. And that is what actually Cred, if I don't know the statistics, but the brand salience or the brand awareness, salience is a big word, brand awareness would have gone up with this singular commercial. Before that, a lot of commercials were there, and we used to always wonder, kya bolna cha raha hai? We couldn't understand Madhuri Dixit, Govinda, Kumar, Bappi Lahari, and all those people. But this suddenly, people have taken. So I think important point about brand is how am I different from everything else that you are considering? And this difference is again on those two axes, the emotional axis and the logical axis. The classic case is, which we have all studied in these schools, is the case of Lux. The film stars, they endorsed the brand Lux as if you use Lux, you have a future in Bollywood. But that's the emotional part, emotional differentiation of Lux. And there also, every time you have a new Lux, new current brands. So the point that I'm trying to make is, I have always believed that USP, which everybody speaks about, United Selling Proposition, is no longer good enough for marketing brands. We have developed a concept ourselves, which we call unique buying motivation. Because the fundamental rule that we follow is that if I have to sell anything, product, service, anything, I can only sell if somebody buys. Do you agree with me? And when we buy anything, we give ourselves a reason to buy X over Y. Do we do it? And the more expensive the buy, the more complex is this decision making. So marketing, branding is all about how do you create the unique buying motivation in a prospective customer towards your brand. The beauty of UBM is, once he buys out of conviction, he will defend his choice with anybody. He will talk about his choice with anybody. Am I right or wrong? So that is critical in terms of branding and marketing. We have a construct which we use, very useful in terms of selling skills program that we do. We use a lot of it. I haven't
Yeah.
deliberately used UBM. There is another tool we use which we call Canvas in order to understand what is it that the customer really wants or needs.
Sure.
Because unless we understand that, we may do anything that we want to do in terms of packaging, pricing, promotion. But unless the customer sees that value in whatever you are doing, he may or may not buy your brand consistently. He may buy it for trial, but if it doesn't live up to the purpose that he has bought, he may not buy it.
Sure. Thank you, Deepak. Do we have questions here?
Yes, thank you very much. It was wonderful program. This is Mirza Abdullah Ali Beg from Hyderabad chapter.
Hi, Abdul.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
Very surprisingly,
right,
though,
thank
your connection shows you are on mute.
Okay.
Anyway, we can hear you. Please
The
tell us.
technology is also getting used to having system.
Abdullah, you're unfortunately breaking up now. So I'm not sure. I mean, you can just maybe type your question as well, or maybe just try switching off your video, which I think you have already done. Yeah, please go ahead once. Let's try.
Okay. Right. My question to you is, you have been doing the training and other services. Now, since training, due to pandemic, a lot of people, new people, flooded in the industry, and because of which, there is no difference between a newcomer and old timers. So, how do you during this time your brand and keep the customer to yourself? How do you engage?
Great question, Abdul. In fact, I showed those 11 programs which we launched under the Access branding. Again, it comes back to the same point. What I am trying to market at this point of time, if it is not contextual and relevant to a person who is likely to buy, he will never buy. So one of the things that we talked of, that people are working from home. It is so easy to supervise when somebody is in front of your eyes and working. How do you train your supervisors to supervise a team when they are working from home? Okay. Second, companies which are into service industry. How has the customer's expectation changed, and how do you orient yourself to this changed customer expectation in terms of doing the account servicing? I mean, I'll give an example. We consult with an APO who create three-dimensional drawings from two-dimensional architectural drawings for clients across the globe. So suddenly they realize that people do not have any Monday, Sunday, Saturday, morning, evening, night, late night, and the demand started increasing. And then if you don't deliver, they will feel upset. So this is a challenge. So what we did was we trained the senior people in that organization in terms of assertiveness with client organizations. How are you assertive with client organization in terms of you have your time, I have my time, and let's look at that intersection of time which works for both of us. And how do you do it? So this was very relevant. So the point that I'm trying to say is brand is about relevance. Because it is, again, as we define, it is a relationship of choice. And I will accept a relationship and pursue it only if I believe that it is worth my time, effort, and energy. Otherwise, we don't want to pursue such relationships. Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely.
So it is about a relationship. And how do you build those relationships and nurture it is what is the critical part.
Yeah. So we'll have time for one more question if we have it.
I'm sorry, I overshot my time by 5-7 minutes in terms of.
Yeah, but it was worth it.
Thank you, Shrikant. It coming from senior people like you, it really encourages me.
No, I'm quite serious and sincere about it.
No, I tried to bring in what I learned. I didn't try to
Yes,
get to books and net and things like that. And we have done all this. It's not that I'm talking something which has not been done. And we've seen the results.
Sure. So I think I'll rather request Shrikant to just conclude and propose a vote of thanks.
Uh,
Just one
yeah,
second, Shrikant.
I'm listening to.
Is there any question? Sorry, we heard someone saying something.
Shall we have an omelette and roti?
Okay.
Somebody's talking in the
क्या कर सकते हैं एक omelette और
Okay,
roti?
I think we can continue. Shrikant, please go ahead.
okay. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you very much, Deepak. It was very nice interaction we had with you. This subject is so interesting because marketing is actually the heart of any business, and all the activity which goes on, all economic activity really goes around the marketing function, and the heart of marketing is branding. You gave us a good insight into this particular subject, and if you are in Pune sometime, and if the corona goes away, we can meet also. So
Sure,
thank you so much. It was a wonderful time that we spent with you, and it was very, very educative.
In
Thanks
fact,
a lot.
Pune is my second home. I have got a flat in Amanora, and my
Very
idea was to spend a week every month in Pune.
Okay.
I love the city. It's beautiful, and Amanora is a different world altogether. And I
Yes.
thought that everybody talks FMCG when we talk branding, but I mean, I thought let me talk something which is beyond FMCG.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Everyone needs branding.
Yeah, B2B
Not only
branding is one
FMCG.
big area. I mean, if you're in
Yes.
consulting, B2B branding is one very big area of brand management.
Yes. Yes.
We are getting a lot of queries and customers, clients who want us to help them in their B2B image building using digital platforms and things like that.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks
Thank
a lot,
you.
and thanks all
And,
Chandan and participants.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Shrikant.
everybody.
So stay tuned. We'll have another session coming out. But before that, just a request to everyone who is present now, if you can just put your videos as well, we'll take a quick
Yeah,
picture
mine is
of all
on.
of you. Yes. There are few, if you can also switch on your videos, please. Hello, Suresh sir. Good to see you.
In fact, if you have time, please join us for our webinar on 12th. Very interesting topic, consumer sentiments.
Deepak, if you have the link, if you can we can just
I
put
will
it
share
on the
it. I will
chat.
share it with you. It's free, just register. It's a
You can
webinar.
please send it to Chandan so he can circulate.
I will do that.
We have Walter sir as well. I think he is also one of our most powerful marketing guru with us as well. I don't know, Deepak, if you know Walter.
I've heard of him, and I'm grateful to you, Chandan, that you could.
Walter sir, you're on mute. Maybe if you can just unmute once as well. You are still on mute. No, sir, still on mute.
Is that all right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to say I retired 50 years ago. So I'm again relearning. But that was a very interesting session, Mr. Pramanik.
Thank you so
I
much.
enjoyed listening it to part of it. But
Thank you so much.
that was very nice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Sure.
things are changing all the time. Have you finished with taking a photograph of the group?
I have, yes.
Okay.
Thank you very
so
much.
much, Chandan.
Good.
Thank you, everybody. Please stay
Nicely
safe,
managed.
Take care. Have a nice
Nicely
day.
managed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chandan.
Bye.
Good evening
Bye.
and see you. Bye.
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 Thank you, Deepak. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Chandan, for giving me this wonderful platform to speak.
Thank you. I think it was worth all our time. Excellently done.